What comes after death? They say space is the final frontier, but what's the next frontier after that? Answers to these questions and more on this episode of This Paranormal Life! Oh, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to This Paranormal Life, the weekly show. Every Tuesday, we dissect a different paranormal tale and try to work out whether it's true or not, whether it happened or not, whether it's paranormal or simply mundane, like the rest of my life. You're joined by your two favorite paranormal investigators, very decorated, very prestigious, very old. A lot of years in the industry. My name's Kit Greer. This guy's Rory Powers across from me. How you doing today, Rory?
I'm doing great. And as you said, we're not afraid to ask the big questions, but we're also not afraid to ask the little questions. Mm-hmm. Like, can mice fall in love?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even smaller than that. Can a snail
fall in love?
Yeah, mostly to do with love, because love's pretty paranormal.
Yeah, we put two ladybirds in a bag. And just hope one male, one female, a male ladybird and a female ladybird.
Get it right, yeah.
And we just wanted to see what would happen. I think one of them ate the other one.
Yeah, ate the other one
and
instantly.
Died. Yeah.
Yeah, because ladybugs are poisonous to other ladybugs.
But is that love?
To ladybug?
Who knows?
To me, it is.
Let's find out. On this week's episode, we have an array of bugs that we're going to be mashing together in a sack.
So over here, we have a variety of different sacks with a variety of different bugs inside. And as long as we don't... Holy... I don't know which bag I just tipped open.
The bugs are everywhere.
That's a whole situation. I guess we'll let them do their thing. We'll come back to that at the end of the show, maybe. But as always, we have a brand new investigation for you this week. We're going to dive right in. Thank you so much to Alex Stevens for emailing this one into us at thisparanormallifepodcast@gmail.com. Today, I am taking all y'all to the year 1518. We're in Strasbourg, France. Have you ever been, Rory?
I've been to France. I've never been to Strasbourg.
Strasbourg borders France and Germany. It's a small city for anyone that doesn't know, and it's the fulcrum point of Northern European culture and politics, which is why it's the home of European Parliament, the Strasbourg Cathedral Notre Dame. But the city also keeps a dark paranormal secret that almost exactly 500 years ago, an event unfolded that would defy explanation to this very day. July 1518, it's a normal, peaceful day in Strasbourg. Everyone's going about their business. Bakers pulling baguettes out of the oven, merchants on every street corner bustling, selling their wares, blacksmiths pulling iron baguettes out of ovens, aka swords.
Valerian baguettes.
I cannot stress enough how civilized this place is. This is where these two great countries meet and those cultures blend. But in the middle of this bustling street, one woman, Mrs. Trofea, starts to dance. She's in the street, grooving to her own beat, popping, locking, milli rocking, pulling out every move in her arsenal. And you can imagine everyone's thinking, weird but fine, we don't really hear any music. And as night falls, the bakers are done baking, the blacksmiths are done blacksmithing, baguettes go back in the oven. I don't know how bread works.
No.
They return home at the end of a long, hard day. And the next morning, just as they're setting up shop again, and the streets begin to fill with early risers, it becomes very clear that one person never went home, never even went to sleep, Mrs. Trofea. She is exactly where she was yesterday, on the same spot, still dancing.
All right. Is this so maybe she's busking? Is there a hat down? Is she accepting coins?
That's an interesting take. I don't believe she was. I don't think there was any sign of coinage.
That's a little worrying.
Which is a good point. If I went into like Piccadilly Circus, started dancing.
Yeah.
But I didn't have like a little receptacle. There's no hat down there. There's no box. There's no coin purse. Do people just start throwing money at you or what?
It would be a truly terrifying moment when you have like a pound coin in your hand and you approach the dancing man on the street to give him money for his performance. And slowly into the approach, you realize there is no hat. There is no basket. This man is just dancing for the love of it.
He is just method. He is just passionate.
And at that point, you have two choices. You can turn away, or you can weirdly just go put that pound coin by his feet. Yeah. Which I think is even, like, that's maybe even a bit insulting and weird. That's maybe even weirder.
Pick it up. Like, you're not even, like, he's just like, why didn't you hand it to me? I don't know. I thought you were busy, sir.
Because I'm assuming, I mean, a old-timey town that is between Germany and France, I'm assuming this is like that town in Footloose that doesn't dance.
Yeah.
It's going to be no nonsense.
Totally. Now, Germany has like an international stereotype of being quite serious.
Yeah, like no nonsense.
So I feel like this wouldn't be exactly to their character. Even less so medieval Germany, where presumably life was a lot harder, tougher. I mean, they were making swords. So
yeah,
any society that has to make swords every day.
If I wake up at 7 in the goddamn morning to bake loaves of bread and there's an old woman like grinding on my legs as I'm like pushed against a hot oven, she's like using the baguette as a penis. Things are getting really weird and sexual. She's been there all night long. I would be a little furious as well, to be honest.
At the very least, life expectancy is so bad that you're like, I don't have time for almost anything. No. Least of all dancing. I've got weeks to live. I gotta bake.
I gotta bake this bread.
And people on the street corner are talking to each other like, she's been here all night, right? People making jokes, I'll have what she's having. I guess she's having a good time. And before long, others start joining in. Later that day, Mrs. Trafea, without saying any words, has started a dance party. Several people in the middle of the street in a seemingly endless silent dance-off.
Got a bit of a silent disco on our hands here.
Pre-iPod silent disco. You just kind of hum a tune of your choice to yourself and dance. Days started passing, and every day a few more people would join the dance. And every day the other townspeople became more and more confused about what was happening. Within 1 week, there were 34 people dancing day and night.
Good Lord.
Surely this can't keep going, right? Wrong. Within 1 month, 400 dancers dominated the street in Strasbourg. At this point, if it had ever been amusing to the locals, it stopped being funny when one dancer dropped dead of a stroke.
Oh my God.
To this day, people do die at dances, at raves, at parties. It's kind of a byproduct of... listen, if you throw a legendary rager, someone's gonna die.
Yeah.
There's gonna be fatalities.
Of course.
For one reason or another. So you could excuse maybe one. The problem is, from that point on, periodically, people just started suffering heart attacks, hemorrhages, strokes, and despite that, every day more and more people joined this dance.
What a terrifying, strange affliction to have. Because I mean, this would get to the point where, if you're someone in the town that has not started dancing yet, I mean, you're going to be like, I can't listen to any music because I don't know how this thing starts. I can't even like do a little hop skip when I leave the front door because maybe I won't stop hop skipping. Yeah, it'd be terrifying.
See, your friend, he's round at your house. You're having like a little drink after work after a long day baking baguettes, and he's like, "Hey, bro, you hear the new track from Lord Varian?" And you're like, "Dude, do not play me any Lord Varian. His shit is so fire. I will be out there in 2 seconds dancing till my heart stops." Literally.
Yes, get thou music box out of thine house. And it's too late. He's cranking it. And you guys are popping. You're locking. You're magnetically drawn to the courtyard where there's hundreds and thousands of people all dropping and locking together.
And you know that there's those kind of no-nonsense types. And they're just like, "Oh, you won't catch me in there. I'm not going to be dancing anytime soon. I've never danced in my life and I'm not going to start today." And like that guy's wife is just like, "Your grandfather is in that square right now. He's 95 years old."
Yeah, hard cut to the businessman doing the moonwalk. Like, he's in a big dance circle of everyone cheering him on.
The mayor is just like, "Help, help."
Because that's the other difficult thing is, an infliction like this that is at its surface quite comical. I mean, that's a hard sort of thing to ask for help with.
Right.
I mean, if you go to the doctor and you're like, "Doc, I just can't stop dancing." He's like, "Get the hell out of my office. Absolutely get the hell out of my office."
The NHS is so overburdened as it is. We don't need jokers like you in here.
Yeah.
"Doc, seriously, my feet hurt, man."
Just because usually paranormal encounters are quite scary, terrifying things. I mean, what happens if you got cursed by a witch and you start pissing orange juice? That's a pretty serious thing. Orange juice coming out of your penis. But a doctor's going to be like, well, actually, a doctor might actually care a lot about that.
Yeah.
He could probably win a Nobel Prize or something with you as like a little freak monkey.
Yeah.
But, and that's what the thing, you know, if you're having health problems because you're dancing too hard, I mean, yeah, people are going to laugh at you.
Yeah, like I said, this was super serious. People were dropping dead. And although the city didn't keep written records of how many died, I guess it was 1518, you know, they didn't have iPads and shit for jotting that down.
Yeah.
They did record that fatalities occurred. And sources say that up to 15 people a day were dropping dead.
Oh my gosh.
And this city wouldn't have had a massive population at the time, maybe like, I don't know, 50,000, something like that.
Right.
Needless to say, this situation quickly escalated from kind of funny to very horrific in just a couple of days. Were these people in control of themselves at all? Are they possessed? If so, could it happen to anyone? For all the townspeople knew they could be stone cold, sober, working hard, yet absolutely powerless to stop their own feet from moonwalking towards the town square to join the party. And of course the officials, at least the officials who weren't affected, had to come up with a way to stop it. Sure, they had guards to stop violent criminals and witch doctors to cure diseases, but how do you stop a dance plague?
If I learned anything from the popular series Game of Thrones,
Yeah?
you need to dance your way into that mosh pit and kill the original dancer
Was that an episode?
with dragon glass straight through the heart. And I'm pretty sure the rest of them will explode.
That's an interesting theory though, all jokes aside. Maybe there is one ringleader to this, some kind of T-virus patient zero who, I don't know, some Pied Piper of this nonsense.
Yeah.
If you take them out, the spell wears off. There was definitely a lot of different schools of thought about what was happening here. And they started asking these 16th century doctors and physicians for advice. Of course, being men and women of science, they quickly ruled out astrological and supernatural causes. Instead, they announced that this was a disease. They said the affected were suffering from, quote, hot blood.
The quote-unquote boogie virus.
Okay, that's great that you named it, Doc, but how do we stop it?
Yeah, don't try and act like you're this hotshot scientist if your conclusion is going to be something called hot blood. That's the most old-timey doctor shit I've ever heard. It's like, oh, doctor, what's the problem? Well, after a little diagnostic, I can confirm they have hot blood. We need 2,000 ice-cold leeches stat.
This really just seems like you're flying by the seat of your pants at this point.
You might have as well have said boogie genes or the boogie virus.
Yeah, I just sort of imagine like the kind of doctor that comes up with that is the guy who's like first day of medical school. All the medical students are crowded around the patient's bed, and the head doctor, the lecturer, is just like, so maybe some of you would like to take a look at this patient's stat sheet here and just see some of the symptoms and try and diagnose. I think I know what it is. Sorry, young man, you haven't actually looked at any of the statistics yet. He's got spongy spine. What?
This is the doctor who's like in medical school, but he never buttons up his lab coat and he's got his sunglasses on and he's like leaning back his chair. It's like sponge spine. It's like, that's not a real thing. He's like, look, you don't like us young doctors coming in here and shaking things up, huh? It scares you with our new diagnostics. Sponge spine, hot blood, the diseases of the 21st century.
These are diseases by millennials for millennials.
It's like, did you pay for your tuition? Absolutely not. I found a coat in a closet and I came in wearing it.
And speaking of shaking shit up, I need to shake the shit out of that guy's spine. This man is incredibly frail. Don't touch him. Oh! Now, believe it or not, there was, thankfully, it wasn't just an empty diagnosis. There was a cure for hot blood, which was to bleed the patient.
God, that's not a cure.
But
that was the cure to almost anything in those years.
But if your blood is hot, get rid of the blood.
Terrible logic.
They would bleed you dry in order to remove the hot blood from your body, hopefully leaving just enough cold blood, which I think is what humans are, cold-blooded.
In these days, bleeding the patient was the answer to every problem except when the patient came in bleeding, and the solution would be to stop the bleeding.
But of course, this was a time and a place of enlightenment, of scientific progress. And the authorities said, wait, we can't drain all the blood of these people, nor do we have to. What if I told you there's another way? The authorities banded together and decided that the only cure for what was happening was more dancing. They simply had to get it out of their system. Only by dancing, day and night. The authorities took the course of opening even more venues to dance in. They opened 2 guild halls, a grain market. They built literal stages and dance floors to try and help these people dance their disease away. As you might have guessed, this didn't exactly work and make the dance go away. So they had only one other option, one other nuclear option to solve
Nuke
this.
them? You're gonna nuke the crowd?
I just mean kind of like that level of stakes, you know, we're gonna bring out all the guns here.
Right, sorry.
The authorities assembled a crack squad to tackle this disease, an Avengers-style team to finish this once and for all. We're talking an army of elite musicians who were deployed to play the most foot-tapping, booty-twerking, moonwalking, body-popping
What do they think is happening here?
to decimate the dance floor, loots and all.
What you need are the most bland-ass gray humans alive. Don't bring the toe-tapping virtuosos of a generation to this crowd. It's so backwards. What? It doesn't make any sense.
I know what you mean. You need to, if this was like modern day, you would need to banish anything with a beat.
Yeah.
Very, very far away, and import as many kind of Ed Sheeran type people as possible so that they cannot possibly dance to whatever's left.
Yeah, exactly. Just get people who have like hearing impediments, have their vision impaired, you know, they can't even see or hear, and they just go into this crowd and hopefully sort it out.
That's like the M. Night Shyamalan twist version of this movie, is that the only person who can stop it is someone who can't hear at all. They can't hear the secret, silent, paranormal beat.
That's right.
These musicians played day and night, tirelessly, probably until they started dropping dead. But sadly, this only exacerbated the spreading dance plague. This thing became bigger and bigger until it hit a critical mass. And in the end, the only thing that finished this paranormal phenomenon for good was time. Eventually, the mysterious disease subsided, and those who survived could return to normal life. But the people of Strasbourg never determined the cause of the dancing plague.
I guarantee you it would have lasted maybe 2 days max if it weren't for the interferences. People start dancing and they can't stop dancing, so they build them dance halls and fly over the top musicians in the world to make people want to dance even more. Like, what is the mayor of this town doing? If their town hall catches fire, is he like, we are planning to burn the surrounding buildings first before the fire can reach it, thus containing the fire?
We think that if we amass as much wood as possible and dump it on top of the blaze, it should contain it for some amount of time.
It's ridiculous.
Thoughts?
This is an interesting story. I don't know if we've ever investigated something like this before. Some sort of boogie fever? I mean, we really don't have a lot of information as to why this happened, how it was spread. And as we talked about, old-timey medicine and doctors were so god-awful at this point that it feels like they did very little research and put very little effort into trying to find out how this was spreading at all. And every solution just seemed to make things even worse. So I don't know what to think, really.
I think that's fair to say that they pretty much couldn't have done anything more backwards than they already did.
Yeah, absolutely.
They constructed dance halls.
Hey, at least that is like making the best out of a bad situation.
It is some blue sky thinking.
It's like the equivalent of Ohio being like, hey, the frogman's here. He's got a wand. He smells like almonds. We're not getting rid of him anytime soon because he's a little magical wizard. Let's have an annual Frogman festival.
We're not getting rid of him anytime soon because he is our mayor. We voted him in. He is the best public representative we have.
We wanted almonds. He smelled like almonds. Turns out it was just a smell. He had no almonds.
He said he'd drain the swamp. He made the swamp 3 times as big because he lives there.
The wand can do that. We didn't know it at the time. The wand can do that. Could do a lot of magical shit, actually.
He said the wand was a walking stick. It's very magical.
He did the Willy Wonka thing where on his way to his inauguration pretended to trip, did a roll, threw his wand that made the swamp take over all of the main parts of the town.
We said, you're not inaugurated yet.
We can still vote you out. But he pointed the wand at us, and we thought it'd be best to vote him in for sure.
We just got used to swamp life.
Christ, how did we get back to the Frogman? It's taking the best out of a bad situation.
It's like
you're monetizing it.
It's like Denver International Airport. If you remember, all sorts of conspiracy theories, rumors, sightings of UFOs, all sorts of shit. And Denver International Airport now just makes billboards about the fact that they've got UFOs in their basement.
Absolutely. It's business, you know? If Bigfoot's kicking around in my back garden, I'm going to start selling big shoes. If people start spontaneously combusting, guess who's selling water buckets? And they're going to cost you too, you cheap assholes.
So rude to people who aren't even your customers.
You burst into flames? Yeah, now you come crawling back to Rory's farm. What'll it be? I've got all the answers to all your paranormal problems.
You have a lot of matches as well.
Yeah, sometimes you got to just... They don't combust by themselves. You got to get things going a little bit.
I think that's what spontaneous combust means, though, that it happens on its own.
Spontaneously?
I think what you're doing is arson or murder, actually.
But it's still combustion.
Sure.
Not so spontaneous, sure, but at the end of the day, they still need the bucket.
It's like murder combustion.
It is, pretty much. But again, they need the bucket, and that's going to cost them probably about $200-$300, I'd say.
Okay, you're going to jail for life.
I go to my jail cell with a box of matches. Hope y'all got some noodles to trade for water. Flicking matches at like this 7-foot dude who's wearing nothing. He just promptly beats the shit out of me. Something really funny about my scrawny ass in jail. Like in a whole cell full of like neo-Nazis.
You guys are going to be giving me all your shit soon. Better get used to that. Gonna be running the place.
I appreciate the business savvy. I mean, they're making money off those dance stages and those dance halls.
Are they?
If people are coming in to dance.
I don't think they were charging these people. I think they think this was like a public health.
Big mistake, pal. That's
okay.
Business 101.
I think this is a public health hazard.
I learned that from my first combustion. You got to charge them to make the cash.
If anything, I think this is they probably want to solve it because this is costing the city an enormous amount. They have baguettes not getting baked because the bakers are out there body popping, molly rocking.
Yeah, you got to get people to clean up the bodies as well. And they're going in. They're not coming out. They're dancing their little hearts out. Then you need to send in another team to pick up those bodies. They're in for life.
It takes like 3 months to ship in, the New World's greatest physician, New World's greatest doctor. He solved every case he's been put on, every medical mystery. They put him in for 5 minutes.
He cracks.
He's gone. His eyes are black. He's dancing better than any professional dancer you've ever seen.
They pay $500,000 for a sensory deprivation Hurt Locker style bomb suit for a man to go in, and then as soon as the crowd parts, they're all like, go, 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 go. And he's like breakdancing in the middle. That's $500,000 gone. Absolutely wasted military technology.
Honestly, if this happened today, I don't think we'd handle it much better. And what we just heard about what happened in Strasbourg in 1518 is insane. But I haven't even told you the craziest, most compelling piece of this puzzle. It didn't just happen once, it's happened again and again. The earliest known account of a dance plague is 1300s Aachen in Germany. Weirdly, the same kind of region of not just Earth, but also Europe. These are both essentially in Germany.
Wow.
Yet a full 150 years plus before this first story took place. Which is kind of interesting because if it happened a couple years later, you would kind of say, if this is fake, if it's psychological, if it's something like that, copycat incidents could take place. But when it's hundreds of years apart, that seems like a stretch.
Yeah.
And both fascinatingly and alarmingly, there is even a modern example of this. The 1962 Laughing Plague of Tanzania. It's January 30th, 1962 at an all-girls school in Kashasha, Tanganyika, or modern-day Tanzania. And without warning, by all accounts, no hilarious jokes or pranks being pulled that morning, 3 girls started laughing together in class.
That's fine. Nothing weird so far.
Nothing weird so far. The teacher's going, okay, girls, what's so funny? Quiet down over there, quiet down over there. Shut the up! Respect me! This is the 60s, I can beat you! It's a weird thing for a teacher to say.
Yeah, I can't do a very good girl laugh. My vocal cords don't go that high.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
you're not that size.
I can't
it's
do
not
it.
gonna work.
Yeah, so I just do my regular laugh then?
Yeah. So high. Is that your real laugh?
Oh, my real laugh? My real laugh. You'll know my real laugh when you hear it.
In over 100 episodes, we've never heard your real laugh.
You haven't said anything funny, man, so...
That honestly hurts to hear.
Make a joke, you might hear it.
Knock knock, who's there?
Sorry, just... The thought of jokes make me laugh.
Because I didn't even say joke, I just did a bad setup to a joke.
You also answered your own joke. You said knock knock, who's there?
Why are you laughing that it wasn't a joke?
Sorry, it's funny because you said my part.
I honestly think we should stop the podcast now.
Sorry.
Because if that's your real laugh, I don't think this is going to work.
Well, all right. Well, I'll just try not to laugh.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that was fine. Okay, let's be serious. Blah, blah, blah.
Cool, as long as you can.
Just be serious, Rory. Don't laugh.
I mean, you didn't laugh for over 100 episodes, so I guess it'll be fine.
You're going to stop there. You're going to make me laugh.
I'm being completely serious. There's no reason why you would laugh.
Just... Now it's in my head though. I've got the giggles or whatever.
That's not a giggle though. You're trying so hard not to laugh right now.
Sweat is dripping down my head. I can barely focus. The corners of my eyes are actually going black to a pinpoint.
I think you're turning into a donkey.
Yeah.
There's some kind of metamorphosis going on here. But the girls in this class just keep laughing. Girls, enough! You're distracting everyone. But they keep going. Before long, the teacher realizes that from the expression on the girls' faces, they can't stop, even if they wanted to.
Ooh.
It's said that this laugh spread gradually throughout the school, affecting almost 100 of the 159 pupils that went there, except not one teacher was affected. And this is kind of hard for us to imagine because... okay, maybe something funny happened at school that day, something unbelievably funny.
Yeah.
And maybe everyone's laughing about it. So you would at least expect that the girls go home at night, laugh it off, go to sleep, come back fine the next day. But this lasted for months.
Ooh.
Almost 3 months later, on March 18th, the school was forced to close because they couldn't teach anymore.
Unless no laughing matter.
This spread to neighbouring villages. In one village, 217 people were affected. In another village, 48. The original school reopened in May, 2 months after closing, 5 months since the original laughter episode, and they had to close again a full month later. So 6 months after the fact, the school's closed.
Did anyone die from this, or was this just laughing?
Nope.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, this was totally fine. I mean, which is kind of interesting because I guess it shows that the dance deaths were pretty much to do with the dancing, not any disease potentially.
Got it. Bodies just shut down.
And after 18 months of this laughter plague and 1,000 people affected, the condition gradually wore off completely, and symptoms including pain, fainting, breathing problems, rashing, and screaming went away for good.
Good Lord.
And who's to say that that's the end of these modern examples? Who's to say that frickin' Soulja Boy's Crank That Psy's Gangnam Style, that Fortnite dances aren't some kind of new 21st century shit, some kind of digital dance plague?
Well, I mean, I think we would hopefully know because kids can stop dancing. It's like if there was an unstoppable dance plague,
Can they?
hopefully we would know by now.
That Roy Purdy guy seems to be dancing all the time.
To be fair, we don't know what the hell's going on in the world anymore. I assume in some sort of government bunker, they have one of those, it's in like every zombie movie, they have that world map.
Yeah.
And you can see the infected areas, like the red circles growing on the map. They probably have one of those somewhere, but it's with dancing and laughing. I mean, there's worse ways to go, I guess.
There's like 50-year-old veteran generals just watching TikTok all day long, looking for signs of a dance plague that could take down the whole nation.
I mean, it sucks because obviously no one really wants to die, but dancing or laughing to death isn't, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, imagine there was one town over where...
communist.
Imagine one town over, like, another place called, like, Doodledorf. And over in Doodledorf, you catch a bug there.
So rude, the fact that there is a place called Dusseldorf, and you're just calling it Doodledorf for fun.
Use the goddamn name, you asshole. Yeah, imagine in Doodledorf, you just, like, piss yourself to death. Immediately, bam, gone. One day you're fine, and then, urinated, blah, I pissed out my organs. That would be bad. You'd be begging for a dance virus at that point, wouldn't you?
I mean, if your point is that there's always a worse way to die, you're right. There is.
Yeah, I think that was my point. I'm not entirely sure.
And this pretty much sums up the case of the dancing plague of 1518. We're left with a couple of clues. The fact that this hasn't happened just once, but it's happened a couple of times throughout history. But it leaves us with a tall order on our hands here to come down to a decision whether this is truly paranormal or not.
Yeah, we have almost zero help from anyone who was alive at the time in terms of documenting or really trying to help cure or find out why this happened. They just made it a lot worse. So we got that going for us as well.
What I can tell you is the kind of egghead theories today as to why these things happened. And
Love it.
The reason I left this till last is because, as you're about to hear, these are really unsatisfying answers. There's been a few things thrown around. People have hypothesized something that we talked about in a previous episode. Maybe the harvest around Strasbourg was thrown off in 1518, and that all the wheat that they would normally use for bread was rotten with ergot, and that could have basically caused LSD, a powerful hallucinogenic drug, to be present in their food, causing them to trip balls. That's a kind of interesting theory as to why people might have lost it and started dancing. The problem is that doesn't last for months.
Yeah.
It lasts for like a day.
Yeah.
So there's basically no way that could have been it.
Yeah, because presumably these people aren't like dancing, like they didn't take a bite out of an apple, dance for 12 hours and be like, whoa, that was crazy.
Anyway, time to finish this delicious ass apple.
Second bite, whoa, and it starts back up again. Like it took over and they couldn't stop. That's it.
Basically, the only thing people can kind of agree on is that this is psychological in some way, that this is some kind of mass hysteria, something we've talked about in the podcast before, something that's hard to wrap our head around, but that through some combination of social conditions, environmental pressures, people's psychology switches in such a way that they behave bizarrely and irrationally, and in this case, in a really big coordinated way. One piece of information that helps that theory is the fact that I kind of left out that most of the people this affected in Strasbourg in 1518 were women, young women as well.
Okay.
And that becomes even more interesting when you look at the 1962 incident in Tanzania, because it was at an all-girls school. All girls between the ages of 11 and 18. So there seems to be some connection between this psychological infliction and young women.
Okay.
Which gets a lot of kind of anthropologists and psychologists thinking that did this affect women because women were facing the most stress out of any demographic in society. Apparently in Tanzania during this time, it was a really rapidly shifting political landscape, as well as being a patriarchal society. I mean, and then of course, even more so times 100 in 1518 Strasbourg.
Yeah.
You're living in medieval times with a kind of very powerful social hierarchy where men dominate over women, and you have very little freedom as a woman, and that could this be affecting their psychology to breaking point even.
That alone, like, look at the contrast in the possible hypotheses offered up by current day scientists and the olden day scientists. One was the incredible amount of pressure that was inflicted on a certain age and demographic of people in the surrounding towns. The other one was hot blood.
Yeah.
Their blood was too hot and it made them dance because they were hot. I mean, both very viable options, both very possible.
And neither proven, so hot blood it is.
I mean, it's an interesting theory, but also I'm not going to argue that things are as stressful as they were back in the day, but people these days, come under incredible amounts of stress in their everyday 21st century lives.
There's war zones today, absolutely. There's horrible situations in the world.
Absolutely. I'm out and about in central London. iPhone runs out of battery. I can't get an Uber. I don't know where I am.
I said war zones. It's probably distasteful to
I hit my freaking credit limit on my card, so I can't even get a freaking donut if I want.
You spent so much money you couldn't buy a donut.
I'll ask my friends if they want to go for a beer. Uh-oh, did I say my phone's dead? Because it is. I can't go anywhere.
You still went for the beer. You're sauced.
Yeah, by myself. And I ran into a few buddies, but I couldn't even prep them that I was going to be there.
Granted.
And then what happened? Stayed out too late. Couldn't get an Uber home. Had to get the night bus on my other card that I'm not supposed to use.
So you had a card
I had a second card, sure. I wasn't just going to let my buddies pay for the drinks. But that's for emergencies only.
Did you buy a Rolex?
An emergency Rolex. Because, let me check the time on my phone. It's dead, Kit. I needed to know the time.
You have an Apple Watch on the other wrist.
It's for my apps. And it can't do shit without my phone.
This one's on East Coast time. How am I supposed to tell the time in the UK?
There's very stressful situations in the 21st century. And to my knowledge, we haven't seen people or really heard about people breaking down into dance because of it.
Yeah, it doesn't happen too often.
No.
Although we have covered some suggested cases of mass hysteria before. It's also so difficult because on one level, it seems kind of woke for these scientists to be like, this is affecting women because women were the most oppressed. But it also seems kind of not woke because it's kind of like, the wenches lost it.
Yeah, like their little pea brains can't handle the man problems. I mean, it's almost as bad as hot blood.
Yeah. It's, like I said, unsatisfying answers. But damn it, Rory, whether we have science on our sides or not, we have to come to a decision. What are you saying today?
That's right. I mean, it's not even the fact that we have a good reason behind why any of this has happened. We don't even have a single paranormal reason. I mean, we didn't really talk about any paranormal theories as to why this could happen, which, again, it makes this abnormal, but not necessarily paranormal, which is what we've been coming down. Now that I think about it, we might have made this same conclusion for the last 36 episodes.
Yeah, I think we just briefly touched upon with this one that the scientists back in the day, they quickly considered astronomical reasons, paranormal, supernatural reasons, possession, those are the obvious things. But even back then, they sort of didn't think that was likely.
Which is, I mean, so many things wrong. You diagnose someone with hot blood and then you dismiss the paranormal. I mean, you couldn't have made any wronger choices. It's unbelievable. You're going to put your faith in science? In 15th century science? Bad move, buddy. Because I don't trust 21st century science. The only fact I know about science is that it's a lie. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I've been Rory Powers.
So your scientific fact is that scientific fact is a lie? Is wrong?
It's the only scientific fact that I know is that science is a lie.
That's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's one of those weird things that if I did say it at a convention, people might actually think it's genius. Because he's like, it's right. Science has, year after year, been able to disprove its own hypotheses. It's like, yeah, that's what I meant.
You're yelling from the background. No, it's bullshit is what it is.
I don't think the moon's real.
They're drowning you out with applause.
They're like, he's a genius.
Earth is flat.
I thought stars were demons' eyes. Yes. They're handing me the Nobel Prize.
What?
I thought gravity was a curse to keep humans on Earth.
They're all laughing and think it's a joke.
They're all chanting, 4 more years. I haven't been elected 1 year.
What am I doing 4 years of?
So yeah, I don't think they should have been so quick to dismiss the paranormal in this case.
Is that what you think it could be?
I think it could be. I haven't had the opportunity to do enough research into what possible paranormal event could have caused this behavior, but maybe there's something in there. Maybe a particularly groovy alien had sex with a local, and this boogie fever just spread. It was airborne. Who knows? I mean, have we even investigated whether lizards like to dance? That seems like the first thing I would have done. Like, I appreciated the thing. What was it you said? Something about, it was like people were stressed or something.
Right.
So something like that. But which, like, it's fine because, like, I'm sure you researched it and somebody researched it, and, like, I guess it's all right. But if there were lizard humanoids, could they still hear music? Like, do lizards have ears? These are the kind of questions I think that you should have answered today. But it's fine. You did your best. You
think that like lizard humans came to Earth and the first thing they did was start dancing?
I didn't say that necessarily. I asked if lizards have ears, and you couldn't answer that question.
I can't answer that question. I don't know.
That was the original name of my TED Talk presentation. But so many people showed up to call me an asshole. It was just, do lizards have ears?
Yeah, one like reptile expert just yelling from the back, "No, you idiot!" To be fair,
rest my case.
There was no music.
Boom.
That's another
bombshell.
You don't have to have ears to
dance. You don't have to be a lizard to dance here, but it helps. I think that just about answers your question.
I don't know if it does, but it's going to have to. I guess I wanted to cover this case because it's so incredibly bizarre and sort of inherently paranormal that it sort of sends the imagination flying, but also the reason we haven't really talked about many or any specific paranormal methodologies as to how this could have happened is that I don't really see any. I don't really know how, other than just plain old 1500s possession, you got a demon in you because you're dancing. I don't know how anything other than that would explain this. And I feel like whether it was hot blood, whether it was a sociological illness, some sort of psychological malady, it's something closer to that world than the world of possession.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think the only one that we didn't look at, which isn't paranormal but does fall under conspiracy, is maybe some sort of very early version of local governments and military testing experimental shit on townspeople.
Jesus, I didn't even consider that. We're talking some Game of Thrones era testing
of biological weapons. Absolutely. Again, we've got no reason to believe that's actually what happened. So I just literally pulled that out of nowhere.
It sounds like a couple no's today.
It's going to be a no, unfortunately.
As much as it pains us to say that, God darn, we've got to do some yeses soon.
I'll get a yes.
If you were in Strasbourg in 1518, if you were in Tanzania in 1962,
if you were in the fictional town of Dusseldorf,
so offensive to our listeners in Dusseldorf,
get in contact, please, and let us know.
At this paranormal life podcast at gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of that one. If you can't stop grooving, then we want to hear about it. Because of this paranormal life commune does not yet have a physical dance arena, somewhere that we can recreate this sort of thing, you will have to do all of that kind of dancing on our message board on This Paranormal Life Secret Society on Facebook. I guess you can post like the salsa emoji, the salsa dancing emoji. There's probably a couple dancing related ones you can throw in there.
I will say for the record, there is a dance hall in the Paranormal Members Club, the hotel.
Well, obviously, know that because
Kit's never been into the hotel.
Password.
Because as we've said, he refuses to DM me on Twitter.
I will not.
Give me your secrets, master. That's all you have to do.
I think it's bullshit.
You just got to kiss the ring.
I think you're bluffing. I think it's not even real.
It's
so guys, just stick to this Paranormal Life Secret Society. Whatever about this dumbass members club.
It's real. Send me the DM. Give me your secrets, master, or I want to see any variation of wanting the secrets,
stupid.
and you get the link to the secret website. So it's a real thing. You can dance your little hearts out.
Well, if any club, that it won't have me, so it won't be that awesome, actually. But that's right, there will be all sorts of medieval peasant-style dances going on in This Paranormal Life Secret Society. And if you can't get enough This Paranormal Life episodes, head on over to patreon.com/This Paranormal Life, where there's a backlog of bonus episodes. The Too Hot for TV, the Too Hot for the Medieval Dance Floor. It was banned out of Germany because these episodes are making people groove until they died.
Too hot-blooded for human bodies. You got to get that shit out.
Yeah, there's a bunch of episodes that you can listen to right now for as little as $5 a month. You can get access to those. $2 a month gets you shout-outs. And above that, we've got t-shirts and more. That's right, patreon.com/This Paranormal Life. It's the only way that we sustain this podcast, that you listeners sustain us in doing this podcast. It's a beautiful relationship. We're glad to have you over there. And at the end of every episode, we like to thank those who've supported us on Patreon by giving them a shout out right here in the show. And that's what we're going to do right here and now. Let's go. Thank you to Kevin Guinto.
Kevin, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? That's right. You're an angel, but you actually sinned pretty hard. And I think God just took away your wings mid-flight. You came crashing down to us. You got into a paranormal podcast and you've been with us ever since.
They say heaven's, like it's supposed to be the pearly gates, like forever and ever,
Nope.
like for eternity. Not for him. He was in there for 8 minutes? 9 minutes? I think that was a record.
Yeah, he got in there, tried to have sex with another angel, which
That'll get
immediately
you kicked out.
banned. Yeah, but good to have you back on Earth, brother.
Thanks also to Miriam Goldstein.
Miriam Goldstein, the inventor of gold steam.
What?
That's right. Gold in gaseous form. It was brought on the market as like a super light way to carry all your riches and gold, just in like a jar or in a balloon or something.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty smart idea. If you breathe it, you die. If it gets in your eyes, you're blind.
And it sounds very expensive.
It's pretty expensive. Yeah, because it worked pretty well just having it in a bar form. The gas form is a bit dangerous. A gust came and I lost $500,000 to the winds. You have to really be careful with it.
Cool. She invented it, I guess.
Yeah, and it's been good to her. She's dropping gold steam on our Patreon account, so thank you so much.
Hey, and Goldstein, I'll raise a cold stein to that one. Glug glug. Thanks, Miriam. Thank you also to Chris Salmon. They call him Chris the Salmon, because he's always doing everything upstream.
Battling against the currents.
Yeah, going against the grain, man.
Yeah, one-way street, no. Driving my 2x4 straight that way. The 2x4 that's not a car, that's a plank. Cars. I'm driving a plank of wood wrong way down the one-way street.
My company said, here, Chris, take a company car. I said, cars. I'm going to attach a bike to a 2x4.
I love it. This guy doesn't play by the rules. He doesn't follow the flow. We appreciate the hustle, man.
He's had a hard life, though.
It's been very difficult. Yeah, it's not easy going upstream 24/7.
Hey, man, take the night off. Go downstream. Order a pizza.
Yeah.
Thanks also to Emily Coop.
Emily, the last thing we need in this commune is a coop. All right, I'll be honest with you. People are really antsy. If you start throwing the coop word around, people start thinking there's going to be an overthrow. People start... the people who are in the commune are very easily made afraid. So if you could change your name, because there's no coop, there's no coup, there's nothing that sounds like that. So it would be really beneficial to us if you could just...
We've already banned chicken coops.
Exactly.
4-door coops.
Yeah, and anything that we can't play pool, because pool Q sounds like coup, and people think coup, and then they start looting and trying to overthrow us.
And suddenly we're not in charge anymore, and
Exactly.
no one wants that.
So you might have to change your name to, let's just throw something out there, tennis or marbles. Either one.
Anything with balls.
Anything that's calming and involves balls. Yes.
Thanks also to Justin Parton.
Pardon the interruption, Justin, but I just wanted to thank... Why am I Irish? But I just wanted to thank you for your donation you made to our Patreon. Oh, it's much appreciated. Thanks for dropping a pot of paranormal gold in the pot of the paranormal peasants. I don't know why I was gonna end it with arigato.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dan Sharp.
Dan Sharp, half man, half blade.
Whoa.
That's right, his soul was merged with you'd think like, hopefully like an ancient Japanese katana, but it was one of those like sushi set knives. Like the small,
serious?
the tiny one, yeah. So, I mean, it's still pretty cool. He's pretty dangerous because he's like half knife, half you. It's mostly knife. I think he's like 90% knife.
Oh.
He can't really speak, or he just kind of sits there. But actually,
The whole thing.
he might just be a knife.
That seems more
I think it's
scientific
I
and
think it's just
likely.
because he doesn't move or anything actually. So I guess that's cool. He's like the only knife that supports us on Patreon.
Oh, I actually misread it. It's not Dan Sharp, it's Dan's harp. Oh, this is actually this guy's 90% harp, 10% boy.
And not the instrument, the alcoholic beverage. He's 90% a whole pint of harp.
This is a literal glass of lager.
Thank you for your support.
Thanks also to Samantha Schick.
Everybody get down with the chickness. Samantha would be, we know it, she'd be the first person to start boogieing if the virus comes back. She's in there with glow sticks, whistles, dancing her little heart out till it explodes.
Yeah, she like most of us need a lot of persuasion to dance until we die. She needs a light little nudge in that direction.
Yeah, she was examined. She didn't even have the virus. She just wanted to be involved in the party. So Samantha, thank you for supporting the show. I'm glad you enjoyed dancing, but take it easy on the old ticker.
Thanks also to Henry Beach.
Henry, you son of a beach. I got in a bar fight once, and Henry wouldn't defend me.
Did you know him?
Know who?
Henry.
No, not at the time.
Well, why would he defend you then?
Defend my honor. I was borderline sucker punched when I tried to take this guy's wallet, and Henry wouldn't even step in and defend my honor. The whole thing was backwards. It was insulting to me. It was insulting to everyone involved.
You told me about that now. You said that little beach Henry, you stole his wallet. Why would he possibly defend you for that?
Don't say it on the podcast. Henry didn't know I stole his wallet. I was stealing a lot of wallets that night. He got caught in the crosshairs.
It was at one of our Patreon meetups.
Mid telling us how much the show means to him. Yeah, that's great, buddy. That's great. Is your hand in my back pocket? Huh?
Just touching your ass, Henry. No biggie.
Chill out. Thank you, Henry, for your support. And I know you're giving it because I've got your wallet.
Don't cancel any of your cards.
Please, Henry.
Thank you also to Ivan Birkeland. Well, if it isn't conniving Ivan Birkeland.
You sneaky bastard.
He thought he could just sneak on into our Patreon page. What do you think he's planning to do while he's in there?
I don't know, but it's gonna be sneaky.
Think you're gonna get access to the secret members club? Fat chance.
No, not unless you call me master, and I, for one, know Ivan would never call me master.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, I've tried multiple times. I've had like, I don't want to get into like the details or anything like that, but I've like stolen some of his possessions before and I've not returned them.
Oh, so was that at the same meetup?
It was actually at that meetup. Yeah, the live show. Ivan was there and I was like, I have some of your possessions, like I have your kids, etc. Like call me master. Yeah, well,
Whoa.
Conniving Ivan. He's always up to something.
Hey, if you bring your kids to a Patreon meetup,
A paranormal meetup. There's a chance that's
into.
what's gonna happen. Ivan, just call me master, and the kids are fine, so just call me master. They'll come back, and I'll give you access to the secret members club. So there you go.
It's your choice, buddy. Thank you. Thanks also to Daniel Trivet.
Daniel Trivet is always with it. This is the guy with the latest iPhone, the latest MacBook Pro, the latest Yeezys, but again, too far, the latest diseases. He's got the latest infections, the latest addictions. He's really bad into cryptocurrency and like online crypto betting. It's pretty much drained him dry.
So he pretty much just, he's always got the latest everything, whether it's good or bad.
Exactly. And there's a lot of bad in there involved. I think he might be a Nazi now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty in.
Because it's coming
in a
back.
lot of parts in the world. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So just, you got to hang in there, man. And start picking the good from the bad. That's all I'll say.
Get in touch with what you like. Don't just...
Which hopefully isn't just white power.
Yeah.
Try and get away from
Hopefully it's like the fine things, the Yeezys or something.
Sure. Another
That's
iPhone.
close enough to a personality.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good luck, Daniel. Thank you lastly but not leastly to Andrew Meany. Andrew Meany is actually a pretty comically light kind of name to have for such a hardened criminal. Like, Meany is really the least of what this guy's done when you look at his criminal record.
Yeah, that's really, it's underselling him, really. He's convicted in multiple states of varying crimes, of which he's landed lifetimes in prison. So yeah, I think Meany doesn't really do him, it doesn't really do justice.
I'm pretty sure you know the way the US military had like a deck of cards for the war in Iraq with like high profile targets for each card in the deck. There's a deck with just Andrew. And it's called the Meany deck, and he's every card.
Every single card. He's every joker in the pack. When he was on the stand, they were like, do you have anything to say? Can you even defend yourself? And he kind of like shrugged, and he was like, I guess I'm just a bit of a meanie.
No.
Like,
you're a war criminal.
Yeah, like you're wanted for, like, this is a triple homicide.
Yeah.
You've killed multiple people. It's in my genes. I'm a meanie. He like knocks over a glass of water. Like, who even let him have a glass of water? This guy is, he's one of the most wanted criminals in American history.
He turns around to his defense lawyer, winks. The defense lawyer's nodding, like, perfect.
They like send him to jail. All right, next case, Kevin Scoundrel. Bring up Kevin Scoundrel. Oh, I did it again. Just go to, all you go to jail. Every single one of you go to jail. So hopefully, I don't know how you're getting these payments out of prison and into the Patreon, but thank you so much for all the effort, you little meanie.
And thanks to everyone we've shouted out today and everyone we've shouted out previously. We've for a little while we've had a backlog of names to get through, but we are getting there slowly but surely. So if you haven't heard your shout out just yet, please rest assured that it is coming. Just hang in there. We'll have a whole bunch next week, and more importantly, a whole brand new investigation coming on Tuesday. We'll see you then.
Bye bye.